Hey guys, sorry. I would like to talk about an example of, um, I would say, someone that was a value investor that did something very radical and became very wealthy because of it. Um, this is considered one of the best contrarian investors. So, what does that mean? That means if everyone thinks something's going to go good, he thinks the the opposite. If everyone thinks something is terrible, that's the thing he buys. And this is back to what Bruce Greenwald says all the time: is um, cheap, ugly, boring, hated, bad news. You know, people operate on fear and greed, but they also, um, you have to train your mind to basically pinch your nose, look the other way, and hit the buy button sometimes. And sometimes everybody's right, but a lot of times they're wrong because, like I said with Bitcoin, for example, this thing was less than a dollar not that long ago, and it goes to 60,000. Then all the people on TV start saying it's going to 1 million, and the same thing with gold. Like I said, to me, gold's historical value forever has always been around $1,300 an ounce. And, gold goes to 2,000 and people start talking about it's going to 10,000, 100,000. People get crazy with tulip mania and stuff. But when money's going into the lottery tickets, when all the money's going into the Teslas and the Bitcoins and the Dogecoins and the stuff that is worth zero probably, is going away from the value stocks, the boring stocks, the ugly stocks, the stocks that have been overlooked by people. All right, back to John Templeton. During the Great Depression, he famously bought 100 shares of each company listed on the New York Stock Exchange that traded for less than $1. That simple, bold wager made him a very wealthy man. And he earned 15% return on average over 38 years. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, the guy died, I don't know, 95 and 2008, something like that. But today, we could be in the next Great Depression, and people don't realize what it was like back then unless you watched a video of it, because nobody's alive today. Most of the people that were alive have died, and people don't remember. But one reason why stocks were so cheap for such a long time, because people back then remembered how bad it was, and they were scared. And like I said, people operate on fear and greed, and if you know that, you can take advantage of it. You have to do the opposite. When everyone else is panicking, that's when you're buying. When there's blood on the streets, that's when you should be buying. Everyone else is panicking, everyone else is selling. That's when you're buying. And a couple years ago, when the I hate to beat up on janitors, but because one of the I did a thing on how this guy was a janitor and had $8 million, and so you can still create a lot of wealth with just a little amount of money, but over a long period of time. But when you have the average people start talking about buying Dogecoin and Bitcoin and stuff, that's when you're like, huh, all right, it's time to get out. It's time to sell. Time to evacuate the premises. Um, But yeah, this is one example of value investor. Most of these companies, when he bought for less than $1, were bankrupt or about to be bankrupt or going through bankruptcy. And a lot of them did go bankrupt, probably went to zero. But, and I'm not sure how many companies were on the New York Stock Exchange in 1954. There probably weren't as many as there is today. I'm sure there wasn't, um, but yeah, that just goes to show a hundred shares. I mean, that's $100 and different companies. Um, I don't know how many companies were there, maybe 50 or 100. I don't know exactly, but it turned him into a millionaire by just doing that. And I think that we could be on the verge, if we're not already there, of a great depression, and people, when you wake up and you see your 401k that's 400,000 turn into 50,000, that's when you start panicking, because you need that money to retire, and you're about to retire, and you don't have another 30 or 40 years to wait for that money to return. Um, so yeah, that's when people start panicking, and or if you have a million, it turns into 100,000. You lost 90%. Well, you haven't lost anything until you sell, but when you wake up and you see your million's 100,000, that's when you're panicking. And if the value investor can take advantage of that, because you're ready for it. You know what's going to happen. You know what human nature is. You know what fear and greed is. You know when there's blood on the streets, you need to be buying. You need to be pinching your nose and clicking that buy button. And yeah, maybe you're going to be wrong on a couple, but anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.